Hey everybody, Scrap Kingdom here. It's like, I don't know, 0 dark 30 in the morning, and I was just thinking like, like you go to bed at night with thoughts in your head, or like dreams raging. Um, I have this like wild idea for America. I was just thinking like when I don't know, the other day, well, there's some snoring going on. That's how boring I am. Anyway, the other day, my uncle Davy passed away, and as the funeral procession was passing by his house, I was thinking, man, that's a big house. That used to have a whole family living in it. And the kids grew up years ago and moved away. So it was just a husband and wife living there. And now it's just a wife living there. And there's millions of homes like that. Tens of millions of homes like that across America, where it's a large house capable of holding 5, 6, 10 people or more, and it's only got one, maybe two people living in it. Okay, so you got this huge house, and there's only one person living in it, maybe two, and then you have not the homeless. Forget about them. We've got tens of hundreds of thousands of migrants wanting to come into this country. People willing to work with families and stuff like that, and no place for them to live. And for example, on my block alone, there's at least room for about 120 people. If you were to fill every house to like its normal capacity and use every bedroom, you could fit 120 people into the houses on my block alone. And at my block, my city block, just being a random sampling, what if that's like probably the case throughout the United States? Every city block, every town block, every village block having the capacity for at least 100 people. Well, given that my block has 20, 20 houses, I think it has 20 houses on it. America has easily the capacity to hold millions and millions of people of extra space that's being unused. Think about that. There's millions and millions of bedrooms that just have like piles of boxes in there, or it used to be, um, a child's bedroom, and the kid grew up and moved away, and there's like an empty bed in there that nobody sleeps on. Can you imagine if every one of these houses took in several migrants? Like on my block alone, the end house at the corner has 2 people living in it. And I went on Zillow, and the house has 5 bedrooms in there. There's a mom and like a 40-year-old son living there. And the house next door to me is an empty nester house. It just has a husband and wife living in it, and it has 5 bedrooms. And the house across the street has one old lady living in it, a widower. And that house has 4 bedrooms. Okay? And the house kitty corner to that across the street has one widow living in it, and it has 3 bedrooms. You see what I'm saying? And I've only worked my way about 1/3 of the way down, 1/4 of the way down the block that I live on. The house all the way at the other end of the block has 6 bedrooms, and there's only 2 people living in it. Plus, it has a basement. America has the established already capacity to accommodate 20 times the amount of migrants that are trying to get in. We actually, I guesstimate that we could take in practically all of Mexico, could empty out and live in our basements and our extra bedrooms. Can you imagine that? It's like crazy thoughts that you can just come up with, like when you go to bed at night and you see all these migrants that are like camped out at the border waiting to get in and work. And there's accommodations for them that actually exist. Think about it. What a waste. What a waste it is to have this huge house that you heat and air condition, and there's only one person living in it. I remember a few years back, maybe 5 or 8 years ago, hearing about some policymaker in Great Britain coming up with like the idea that there's tens of thousands of homes in the UK that are underutilized. There's only one person living in it, or 2. It's just like the same thing that's going on here in the States. And that they were proposing to tax those homes an extra levy or something like that for being an empty home. Well, yeah, plus in America there's like millions of vacation properties that just sit vacant for like months, sometimes years, with nobody living in it. Plus there's Detroit, like, knocked down tens of thousands of homes that couldn't sell or were dilapidated or whatnot. They just tore them down, and it's vacant property. All that's on the block is sidewalk, some street lights, and a street with a bunch of